Hello, everybody. Welcome. Rosa Psychic Investigator. Hello, huh. Everybody, welcome. Rosa Psychic Investigators. So happy 4th of July for those of you who are in the US, who is the majority of my audience and where I've been most of the time, except for the last 6+ months. And what a time to be alive. What can I say, right? And I wanted to look into what's going on. And also, it's such an interesting day to ask about what's going on, right? And yeah, let's get to it. Let's do the protection. I'd like to get ask for protection. A beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I fill my lungs. As I breathe out, I create a circle. I create a circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I'd like to ask that information come only from the highest sources, that it create the good and all the good, and so it is. So I don't know how to start, right? This weird event situation is happening in DC, and anyway, it's the 250th anniversary of the US. So I'd like to know what's going on from spirit. Okay. So show me what's going on. It's interesting. I was gonna show you. You've seen the images, right? There's a lot of bizarro things going on in DC, but from the perspective of the founders, and um, also want to know what what are we going to be in even 5 years? It's crazy that when I think about started my channel in 2017. It's 10 years. It's kind of crazy. It's been going on for that long, so it still is insane that we're living in this reality, temporary reality, but it's lasted this long. So let's see. The other thing I'd like to know is, actually, I've been thinking about this. How, not to center everything on Trump, but I'm kind of like marveled. I'm just like, no, I marvel at the fact that Trump is celebrating the US, but he works for all these foreign countries. Like, how does his mind work? That because really, this is like, it's mind-boggling. Him and his cabinet heads, 7 people like him. I mean, they know they take orders from foreign countries, and yet they celebrate, quote unquote, the US. Like, how is that? How does that work mentally? How does that work? Okay. So tell me what's happening. Wow, it's showing me Hegseth in Fox News, and he used to be an anchor on Fox News. And to them, America is it's a screen. It's a reflection of themselves. That's it. It has no purpose other than narcissism for them. And it's because it's a capitalist country that have been very successful for so long. It served the purpose of, like, America is what reflects me. I can do anything. It doesn't like it. I could do anything. It's all about me, me, me. And as long as I am reflected in that concept, it's fine. It doesn't matter that have done things to women and children, horrible things. It doesn't matter that I obey and do what foreign powers want me to do as opposed to actual Americans. What matters is that it's a reflection of myself, of the ego, of the image. It's interesting, it's showing me, guys, the Renaissance. Now, I studied art history, and the Renaissance, the most in no, there's very many aspects of that are interesting about it, but the Renaissance marks the moment when art detached from ritual, right? When art ceased being about the church, right? Because before then, art was always interesting. Somebody came here, a little message. It was always in the function of either ritual or organized religion, right? And then the Renaissance came, and we started seeing paintings of there's this very famous painting by Albrecht Dürer. One of the first paintings is like a selfie, basically. It's like, if I remember correctly, this one, like a finger pointed, and it's like, here I am, right? And it's this idea of the self separate from this religious uh worldview, let's say. And it shows me that Trump, I mean, I'm sorry to have to compare trash with all these remarkable people that came before and everything that happened way back, in the 1400s, right? Because I think that painting is from 1460 something. I don't remember. Anyway, if I remember correctly, I think it's 14 still, not 15. But going back to trash, it's saying it's the bracketing of the Renaissance where we focus men, 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 the man-made order, and this is the extreme, is the selfie-made order, the narcissist, the worst, our APE person, right? And it's like this combination of evil and hyper focus on one, right, man, the great man kind of thing. Like, not that Trump is great, but you understand, right? What I'm saying. It's just like, oh, the great man of history and all that. And it's like this hyper focus on that. And it's saying that we're moving on to a much more collective era where it's not so much about putting on one person on the pedestal. It's so this is the same combination of that. And then we move to this, we move to this other era. Let's just actually ask another question since the Middle Ages, right? Because I have the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Since the Middle Ages is kind of coming up, and if we think of the natural progression of trash and what he stands for, him and Peter Thiel and all those people, they want to create a second Middle Ages types of, like, where everything was not connected. The world was not as connected. It was not connected at all. It was these like remote places, and there were these plagues. There were these, like, people were pretty quite isolated, and then there were these discoveries, and there was the navigation. There was all these things that happened and connected the world. But they clearly want to separate people, and they want to limit travel, and they want to limit everything that has happened before. They want to kind of stop progress in every sense. So are they going to succeed, or is it just going to be a Middle Ages like situation, or is it truly I'm just asking, guys, because, right, I need to address it. We need to address it. Yeah, it shows me that Trump, it literally is giving me the word carcass. He's so shallow, but it's saying his body is failing. And so are the people that he's connected to, like Bibi, Putin, and others. Yeah, that's right. It's saying it's a combination. It's saying it's like a hyper soullessness, and it's not. How does it go away? How do we transition? It's saying this is the, again, hyper combination of these values that have nothing to do with humanity, that are very detached and not relevant from where we really are. But is quote unquote AI. But say, no, Rosie, AI is not as capable as they're selling. And technology will stay, but it has to mutate into something that helps people, as opposed to being the liquidity event for a handful of folks in some shady countries. Okay. So how does this? It's saying they are cornered. It may not seem this way because there's so much propaganda, there's so much preparation, but fundamentally they do not have support. And you could see that by the lack of, like, people are not going there's very few people that are showing up to that thing that he organized. So that's where we are. All right. Interesting. So let's continue here. So So are we going to have democracy? I mean, really, it's suspended. You could say, right? It's because nobody has done anything. It's right. It is what it is for the time being, right? I mean, and even the story of the midterms, if nothing is done about the elections, meaning election fraud, they're going to win, quote unquote, right? Because they're stealing. Was a stolen. He sold us. He sold the seat. This job belongs to Kamala, and someone forwarded her Kamala's message, and it was very encouraging. And she's saying that we should fight for our ideals. Where's that's right. And it's saying that it's interesting. It shows me that, remember, I'm old enough to remember a little, the tape, like I had a tape that you could record onto, like a physical tape. And you used to have like mixtapes and whatever. And now it shows me that, when the tape thing got tangled, everything is tangled up, but it will be untangled and things will finally work, because there was all this period where no justice was done, right? And trash and others got away with everything. This is the stuck moment that will be untangled and will allow us to move forward. And it's saying, in a weird way, you see how they are the propaganda about, quote unquote, the left or whatever. Anybody who was not, happy with the garbage going on with Trump is, quote unquote, right, whatever it is they call it. But the reality is that what is happening with Trump will enable an FDR part two kind of event that's going to come after this, because it has to, right? And I just see the face of Kamala. I just see him being locked up, because I don't see the US becoming like some kind of, Stalin-esque type of, you like, remember, like, back in the day. I don't think it's going to happen like that. I don't think so, for a variety of reasons. And when you think about how incompetent so many of these people are, it's remarkable. I think what they want is to destroy everything, but they're not competent enough in many ways, right? This time, unlike the first presidency, they're very organized. They had the Project 2025, but I don't feel like it's going to last, because it's so out of touch with where the people are on so many levels. And it's saying they depend on cheating. What they have advanced and what they have conquered is cheating at a massive scale, from elections to money to all of those things. They are doing it in public. People are seeing it. Even Fox News is reporting about it. So it shows me that there was this convergence of those awful things they've done, and kind of lack of courage, right? Lack of applying the laws that exist. And then it's saying extreme corruption, in the sense that everything became hyper financial. So nobody was willing to take risks to put people in jail. When that's what it's saying. Jail will fix things. If you put the people that are committing these crimes in jail, it will happen. So it's saying it's not like a huge mystery. It's just that you have to make justice happen for all. So, all right. So tell me. So show me 251 years. How different is it? Yeah, it's saying almost like a second Department of Justice. So many trials. Right? Because what needs to happen is justice. So I don't, like I said, I don't see things progressing in the way they want things to progress. I just don't. Because I really don't feel like the founders created America so it would become just like this, right? I don't think that was the purpose at all. I don't think it's like they wrote about it. They wanted, they were aware there this level of corruption could happen, but I guess they assumed that people would do something about it. But it's saying the financial dismantling, Citizens United, all of this. And it's saying the radicalness of the horror, what we're seeing with Trump, right? The awfulness, the shameless corruption that we're seeing. It pushes action, right? The payback is not payback is not the right word, but it's like the outcome of this is going to be the opposite because there are so many pain points. And we're seeing what needs to be done, and I see that these people are running out of steam, as weird as it may sound. So because it's saying stuff is in shambles in a lot of ways, right? The healthcare is terrible. They're doing, the stock market is extremely corrupt right now. There's so much manipulation. There's a AI bubble. All of it is in their service of those awful people's interests. And it's saying, remember, go back to the Great Depression again, and what happened when FDR was elected. They were angry at him, really angry. And they tried, even, there was a coup, remember the 1933, I talked about it before. But it didn't go through, and this is something they've been pushing for almost 100 years. And in some ways, we're seeing their goals materialize. But it's not going to last. But it's almost as if we had to see it so that it could be changed. And it's just a painful period. But this shall pass. This is what we're getting here. And it's saying it's such a large country that I don't see the US being like Stalin, right? Like having an autocratic dictatorship like that. Right? The type of thing where you have to obey, you have to do all these things. It's not going to work. So it's saying their system is collapsing, soon collapsing as we speak. And from that, we can build something better. But that is the message. That is the ultimate message of today. Okay? All right. So thank you for watching, and happy July 4th. Love you guys. Bye.